together for the all-new EV3. That's a car reveal that you'll never forget, hopefully. Folks, I'm just going to run through a couple of the designs with this vehicle that I think you will more than appreciate. Now, I did mention earlier that we have a lot of these designs that have come down through the EV line. Now, with everything, we have that certain design that we use all the way through our models. And this vehicle is no change because we've kept the closed grille design. Now, we use what we term a tiger face design, which is a combination of our headlights and the front grille. Now, I'm going to mention a couple of things. Now, number one, you can see the way these daytime running lights move all the way to the extremity of the vehicle. Now, these, of course, double up as our indicators at the same time. Now, folks, what this means is that at night time, it really proves to be a safer option because there's more visibility on the side of the vehicle. Not only do we have that unique look to ourselves, but we've kept the vertical taillights, which we showcased in the EV9. Now, this specific model has got what we call matrix headlights. Now, folks, I may use a couple of terms through the presentation. If any of them aren't hitting a home run or you're not quite understanding what I'm saying, please, folks, come and ask me afterwards or any one of the sales team, and we'll be glad to elaborate on any of those items if we can do. So I will do exactly that. Now, folks, we have a number of models in the EV3. We start off with what we call the Air model. We then go to the GT line. And of course, we have our top of the range called the GT Line S. And we are showcasing the new sports style front bumper. And very soon I will show you the rear bumper in the same vein. And these things really hit a home run. Now, what happens is, in a number of these circumstances, we use old style of designs. Now, I say that because in this specific model, we brought this out when we launched our EV6. And folks, hopefully some of you will recognize what I'm about to showcase. We call this the frunk. Now this one, and hopefully you can see from that distance on top of it, is that there is an upper portion to it as well as the lower portion. A combined volume of, anybody like to take a guess? 25 litres. Yes, you did right. You really need more top-ups on your drinks, that's for sure. But 25 litres. So what does that mean in everybody's everyday terminology? That's the same size as the average backpack or rucksack. So give you an indication volume-wise. Now that's perfect to fit all of your charge cables quite comfortably. And if you still are interested in putting some more valuable items in there, you have room for what we call our legendary vehicle-to-load adapter. Now some of you may not know this already because you haven't embraced electric vehicles. And I'd like to just explain why. Now in this new model, we have the charge port located just on the driver's front wing. And it's called a little Type 2 plug. And we plug this unit into it. And then it turns into something extremely useful. It turns out to being a 3-pin plug outlet. Because we have a massive electric battery in there, wouldn't it be good if we could utilize it for other items? And that is exactly what this does, is it turns it into a 3-pin plug. So if, folks, you have a large estate and you have an electric lawnmower and you don't want 50 meters of cable, there is your best extension lead in the business. Plug your electric lawnmower straight into it. We can, of course, charge electric bikes, your golf buggies, etc. The world is endless, and I'm not going to carry on with too many more. But there's one that really resounds with me, and even though I've got that funny accent, I'm sure you'll agree with me. The great British tradition of a cup of tea. Yes, you can plug your kettle into that and it will run it. So if you're away from home and you fancy a nice warm cuppa, you've got the opportunity. Folks, this delivers 3.6 kilowatts, so more than ample to cope with any of those electrical needs. So, what I'm going to showcase down the side of the vehicle is what we like to term as a compact SUV. And I think nothing shows it off better than from the side view. Now with that, we wanted to portray, and what I feel is one of the marvels of designs, is that would you believe that this vehicle is actually shorter than our current Nero. Yes, folks, Nero and shorter. You'd hardly believe it. Thank you for that. You get a discount on your car. Folks, we have also something that I find really astounding. Front axle to rear axle, we call the wheelbase. Ooh. Would it astound you? You don't get a discount because it was too early. Folks, the wheelbase on this vehicle is the same length as a Sportage. Now that's a full-size SUV. So can you see when we talk about things like this in our design, the whole crux of it is to create as much internal cabin space as we possibly can do. Because coupled up with our electric global modular platform, which is a totally flat floor, so there's no center tunnel, means we can create the maximum amount of room inside the vehicle as possible. Now folks, this just leads us on to our next level. And folks, this is where fun really starts for ourselves, and it will do with you. Folks, I promise you, if you can't see it now, as we move around, you will do. But this, folks, leads to class-leading rear legroom. And that's quite an astounding fact to put forward. And we really enjoy things like that when we say class-leading. Now, folks, there's a couple of other things that we really enjoy about this vehicle that might just resound with you. Is some of the design that we have. And you may see the premium sort of feel to it when we've got flush door handles on the front doors. We've got hidden rear door handles, which again add to the aerodynamics. And that's something that we really pay particular attention to, because there's a lot of things that contribute towards it. Now this model is the GT Line S, and we have 19-inch wheels on this specific model. But all of them come with what we call dedicated or bespoke electric tires for the vehicle. So what does that mean to everybody that's here? That means that we get the best possible range because they have what we call a low rolling road resistance. They're as quiet as we possibly can make it because, again, it's been dedicated for an EV vehicle. It has increased sidewall presence because of the performance and the weight of an electric vehicle. Can you see the lengths that we're going to make sure that we get the best out of our vehicle for you? Now, some other designs you might not think are as sharp, but they do work for you. Now, we brought this out in our EV9 and we called this a floating roof design. Can you see that the windows all the way along are almost blacked out, or they have a blacked out section, and the roof is the colored version, so it almost looks like a floating roof. But what this does is convince the eye that actually the car is slightly shorter in height overall, and that of course is just a little design, but what it does do is open up when you get inside the vehicle, because immediately you think you're going to be a little bit lower, but it's a clever design that works. And something else that we think works really well is the way that this rear spoiler really extends far into the back of the vehicle, and again that's aided to get the maximum range that we can do out of this car. Quite special. Now folks, I nearly always forget to do this, but this time I'm on top form because all of you have turned up tonight. It's our brand new color. So do we have anybody that has a nut allergy? Because it's called pistachio. Right? Pistachio green, I remembered. So yes. Folks, do you like it or not? Yeah. Yes, good. That's a resounding shout. We'll take that any day. Thank you. This is operating the power tailgate, folks. And hopefully what you see there is a rather large boot. So this is another one of those factors that I enjoy. It's one of the class-leading boots available in its class. So much so that we have 460 liters of boot volume. Folks, let me put that in perspective for you. If you were going on holiday with your large suitcase, that is approximately 70 liters in volume. So you guys can do the maths. How many suitcases will fit in the back there? Here we go. I can see the wheels turning. Right, I won't go any further. Right, folks, I know you can't see it, but I promise you you'll be getting up close. I just want to showcase what we have in our group, which is what we call a drive-by-wire system. That is a stalk that comes out just below the windscreen wiper stalk. And folks, this is the operating system that you've been accustomed to in most of your vehicles, that is either in the center or it contains a manual gear shift. Now with every electric motor vehicle, so i.e. an electric vehicle, we can control the drive modes via a switch. This is no different. At the end of the stalk, we turn it forward to go, funny enough, drive, reverse direction, yes, you've got it, and a little button on the end for park. What this does, folks, is create more space in the center console area. So again, we're maximizing the amount of room we can do in this vehicle. On top of that, we've come up with a new design. That center armrest. Just below it is a table. Folks, it's an extending table in this model. So if you do get the opportunity when you're stopping for that very small 5 seconds of recharging, or you're waiting for an hour for the kids to come out of school, or just potentially you enjoy the seats in this vehicle, you have more options to lay out any form of laptop, iPad, handbag. You get the idea, no doubts. So there we go. Folks, direct from EV9, we have brought through the triple panorama display. It is a premium set for everybody to get to grips with. And what this means is we have a 12.6-inch screen directly in the driver's line of view. There is one right in the center console, which incorporates your sat-nav, your infotainment, and of course all of that information display that you would need other than driver information. And in between both of those we have a 5.25-inch screen dedicated purely to climate control. So it's a touch screen, fabulous, premium end of the market. But folks, who's driven on our roads recently? You know it's not a premium road anymore. There is a few potholes. So you're back my neck of the woods, Africa. It's not the easiest thing to push a touch screen when you're navigating the roads when they're bouncing, correct?
Yeah.
So would it be good to know that we've kept the manual switches from EV9, which means both climate control, so we've got dual zone climate control, can be controlled the temperature via a normal switch. You've also got the fan speed via your normal switch. And more importantly, the volume control, so you can turn the volume down, so I don't have to shout at you anymore. It's nice volume control that we're used to. Folks, we try and think of everything we can do, which is exactly what we're heading in this vehicle. Now, on top of that, we do technology extremely well. So just below that, we have haptic controls. These are the latest innovation. They look like touch buttons, but they actually respond underneath your fingertip. And they rebound, so it knows, you know that you physically tap that switch. So we've got 3 options for you to try and adjust those important items. And this creates the shortcuts on those haptic controls to every area that you may want to change, either while you're stationary or while you're driving. Now, when I'm talking about driving, we have augmented reality heads-up display. So less time with your eyes taken off the road ahead of you, but a lot of information, and we can personalize that to whatever level you would like to. So it's a really nice level of driver aid. We do loads of other driver aids, parking assistance, etc. that is thrown in. But we do technology extremely well at KIA. And I'd like to just mention this very last few things. This is called the Advanced EV Route Planner. Those of you that might not have embraced electric vehicles just yet, this might just hit that resounding run. If ever you're worried about a long journey and you're worried about whether the car can make it or where you might have to charge on that long journey, the Advanced EV Route Planner will do this for you. It has an AI-backed search engine as well. So you can go into it and ask it for a direct route, or you can ask a return journey. And it will work out where it needs charging based on the way you've driven the vehicle up to that point. And it will give you options as you're on route at the same time. So it just takes away that little bead of sweat you may have about a long drive in one of our vehicles. Hopefully that'll work. And another nice one, and I know you guys are going to laugh at me for this one, but if you ask it for the nearest pie shop, and you can see I've been to that far too many times, it will do exactly that for you. And of course, any relative type of point of interest that you may have. It's a nice touch again. It just works too well in some cases. folks, I'm going to round this off in a couple of fashion because we do sustainability incredibly well at Kia. And just a couple of pointers that you may appreciate. That we take 112 plastic bottles out of the ocean to create one artificial leather seat cover in our vehicle. So we're doing ocean cleanup, and we're one of their major partners for that. On top of that, we take discarded fishing nets out of the ocean to create the carpeting in this vehicle, but without that smell. So can you see we do sustainability incredibly well? Now folks, to extend on that, there is a QR code on the left-hand bottom corner of the dashboard. If you fancy finding out more of our credentials, please hover your phone over it in the camera mode and it'll take you down that road where we really excel very well. And hopefully that will just do that perfectly. Now I'm going to finish on the last thing because we have a Harman Kardon surround system, and what really works well with the younger crowd, and you may like this too, is streaming. So Netflix, YouTubes, the likes thereof, we've now got open air streaming to this vehicle. So we're keeping up again with the Joneses and maybe the baby Joneses at the same time. I thought you might like that one too. I'm going to round the presentation off back at the front of the car if I may. So please, if you wouldn't mind following me back to the front of the car. Thank you. Folks, just to finish off, a couple of things that are really worthwhile. We do 2 different size batteries with the EV3. We have a standard battery, and that is 58.3 kilowatt hours. Folks, the range of up to 266 miles with that battery, which is extremely healthy for that size of battery. And then, of course, we go for the all singing and dancing. Now, folks, all models come with a front-wheel drive system, 201 brake horsepower. But the long-range battery is where the fun really starts, because this is an 81.4 kilowatt-hour battery and a class-leading range. I hope you heard that. You haven't heard it many times around this car. Class-leading range of up to 373 miles. So you'll be able to go to Blackpool and back for a night out. Excellent. We're all listening on that one, aren't we? Good. So, folks, pricing starts from $32,995 for the Air model, and then we go up to the top of the range model with a heat pump at $43,995. And it gets better, because from tonight onwards, you can place your orders. And you can take delivery this year as well, depending on which model you go for. But GT Line S is first off the production line. Very small deposit, subject to a test drive that I'm sure you guys are all waiting for, and you can be in the lineup. Job done. Who's waiting? Sir, you were first in the queue, I thought. I'm having a chuckle. Folks, please, any questions, come and ask myself or the team. They're the smarter ones in the black shirts, by the way. Thank you once again. Please come and have a look at your new car. Sir.